Hello, Parkside kids. We are so glad that you are with us today. I hope that you are doing good and you have found lots of fun things to do around the house while you've been at home. I hope that you've been nice to your brothers and sisters and your mom and dad while we're at home. Do extra chores for them. Moms and dads love that. So we miss you here at Parkside. Kids, we love you, and Miss Shanna is thinking about you and praying for you every day. And so last week, I want to start with this. I put out a challenge for you to be doing all last week. And so let me remind you of that. I put out a challenge for you to remember our verse for this unit. So we're in a brand new unit. I'm going to go over the verse again. And here's what it says. It's from Hosea 13 and verse 4. I am the Lord your God from the land of Egypt. You know no God but me, and besides me, there is no Savior. So if you have been working on memorizing that, and I know you can, you are so smart, this coming up week, let your mom or dad or brother or sister take a video of you. Parents, you can email it to me. You can send it to me on Facebook. And I'm going to post those videos. And then for those of you that have memorized this verse, I'm going to send you a certificate in the mail for a free Grater's ice cream. Do you love ice cream? What's your favorite flavor? Well, if you can memorize this and your mom or dad send a video, then you're going to get a certificate in the mail with a free Grater's ice cream for you. So I know you can do that. So that's your challenge this week. And I hope I get lots and lots of videos. I'm so excited to see them and see how smart you guys are. Okay, so I wanted to start with that. And then to kind of talk about what we learned last week, can anybody tell me what these silver coins have to do with last week's lesson? Do you remember? And do you remember how many pieces of silver? So we ended our lesson with Joseph in a really bad situation. So for 20 pieces of silver, can you remember who sold him into slavery? If you said his brothers, then you're right. He was his dad's favorite. He gave him a special coat of many colors because he loved Joseph so much. And that made his brothers really angry with him. And so they sold him into slavery to a group of people. They were traveling to Egypt. And when they got to Egypt, they sold him to an Egyptian officer named Potiphar. And so Joseph became Potiphar's personal assistant. Potiphar loved him because God had blessed Joseph. And so everything that Joseph did, God blessed. And he did so well at that. Potiphar saw that. And so he kept giving him more responsibilities. And he became kind of his right-hand man. And so as he worked for Potiphar, he became more and more blessed. And then it got to a point where Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to do something that was outside of God's will for him. He would not do that. Joseph was so dialed into God, so blessed by God, he would not do that. So Potiphar's wife was so angry with him that she lied about Joseph. And Potiphar believed his wife instead of Joseph. And so that landed Joseph in prison. And so he was in prison with two other men. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some dreams that they had. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to call a timeout real quick, and I want you to go get your sketch pad or a piece of paper, some markers, some crayons. These men had some really crazy dreams, and we're going to draw those dreams together. We're going to draw their dreams. And then also we're going to learn that God blessed Joseph by being able to interpret their dreams. So while you're getting something to draw with and getting ready. We're going to take a break and we'll see you in a second. Okay, kids, I hope you have your paper and your pencil, crayons, markers. We have Katie Beth with us because Miss Shanna's drawing ability is not very good, so she's going to draw for us today. And we were talking about Joseph, and remember that he ended up where? He ended up in jail. So Joseph was in jail with two of King Pharaoh's most important people. One of them was King Pharaoh's cupbearer. And he had a really interesting job. It was his job to make sure that the food that the king ate and the drinks that he drank were safe for him. So he would eat or drink it first and then give it to the king. So he had a really important job. And then the other man that he was in jail with was the king's baker. And so Katie Beth is drawing, and this is what I want you to draw. I want you to draw a picture of Joseph and then the two men that he's in jail with, and draw the fanciest cup that you can draw for the cupbearer. And then in the baker's hand, draw something that you love to bake. Do you love to bake cupcakes? Do you make bread with your mom or dad? So you can draw that. And then once you draw Joseph and the cupbearer and the baker, then you have to draw jail bars around them because they are all sitting in jail together. But it was really interesting because Joseph was put in charge of the other prisoners that he was in jail with. So that just shows you that everyone knew he was blessed. He was super responsible. And so Katie Beth is drawing a picture, and I want you to draw along with her. Okay, so this is what Katie Beth drew. There's Joseph, there's the cupbearer, and there's the baker. So show us what you drew. I know that it's awesome. Okay, we're going to move on down the wall here. And so Joseph was in jail with these two men, and on the same night, both of these men had a dream. And they told Joseph what their dream was. The cupbearer, and this is the next picture you're going to draw, the cupbearer had a dream about 3 branches. And off of those 3 branches, there were clusters of grapes that grew. And then in the next part of the dream, he is taking the grapes and squeezing the grape juice into a cup and giving that cup of grape juice to King Pharaoh. And so that's what I want you to draw next as she's drawing. So 3 branches, there are grapes coming off the branches, and then they're squeezing the grapes into a cup, and the juice is in a cup, and he's giving that cup of juice to the king. So draw that next. Okay, the next thing that I want you to draw is the baker's dream. And here's what he dreamed. He had 3 baskets on top of his head. And there are baked goods in the top basket. So you can put any kind of food in the baskets that you want that you can bake. I can think of all kinds of things that I love that are baked goods. But here's the crazy part. Out of the basket, there were tons and tons of birds eating and picking the food out of the baskets that were on top of the baker's head. So that's going to be a crazy picture to draw. So that's what we're drawing right now. Okay, so Joseph told the baker and the cupbearer what the dreams meant. And for the cupbearer, it meant that he was going to serve the king again. He was going to get out of jail and serve the king again. And so Joseph told the cupbearer, remember me and tell the king that I don't deserve to be in jail. And so the cupbearer served the king again, but guess what? He forgot about Joseph. He forgot to tell the king about him. And 2 years later, King Pharaoh had 2 dreams. So that means this whole time that Joseph was still in jail. But the king had 2 dreams, and he wanted to know what those dreams meant. And so then the cupbearer thought back, and he remembered Joseph, that God had given him the ability to interpret dreams. And here's the 2 crazy dreams, and this is going to be your next picture that you're drawing, that Katie Beth's working on right now. The king dreamed that 7 fat cows were eaten by 7 skinny cows, which is so crazy. And that 7 fat heads of grain were eaten by 7 skinny heads of grain. And so watch what she's drawing. That's going to be the next thing that you draw. This may take you a little bit longer, but those are the next 2 dreams that we're going to draw together. So I hope you have your picture done, and Joseph interpreted those dreams for King Pharaoh. And basically what those dreams meant was that there were going to be 7 years of plenty of food in the land, followed by 7 years where there would be no food growing. And so they needed someone to save food for 7 years, and Joseph was the person that they chose. And so the next picture we're going to draw is a really, really happy King Pharaoh, because he saw how blessed Joseph was, how blessed by God he was. And so Joseph became basically second in command of the land of Egypt. No one was more powerful than Joseph except for the king himself. And so our next and our last picture is going to be of a very happy King Pharaoh, because he thought so much of Joseph, and he basically became his right-hand man. So Joseph saved food for 7 years, and whenever the famine hit, people came from all over the land to get food. That was a great thing for that area. And so the thing I want you to know is that God put Joseph in this really coveted, important position in the land. And that was for a reason, to help his family and to help everyone else in the land. The way that this is so similar to Jesus is he gave up his position in heaven to come down to earth to help us. And so next week, as we celebrate Easter, as we celebrate Jesus's sacrifice for us, it has a lot of similarities to this story with Joseph and King Pharaoh. Thank you so much, Parkside Kids, for drawing with us today. Moms and dads, let your kids memorize the verse for this unit. If they haven't already, send me the videos. I'm going to send them a certificate for free ice cream. And I hope you guys have an awesome day.
Searching, you found me. Your love opened my eyes. My heart forever changed. No more standing still, no more going back. more standing still, no more going back. Oh, your love is moving me. I came alive when you found me. I'll never be the same. Oh, I'll shout it out to everyone around me. I am forever changed. Your love is moving me, yeah. Moving me, I came alive when you found me. I came alive when you found me. I came alive when you found me. I came alive your love is moving me. 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 Your love is moving. I came alive when you found me. I came alive when you found me. I came alive when you found me. I came alive when you found me.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace, love, joy like a fountain. I've got peace, love, and joy like a fountain. I've got peace, love, and joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like a fountain. I've got peace, love, and joy like a fountain. I've got peace, love, and joy like a fountain in my soul.
My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. In the beginning, God made everything. God simply spoke and the world came to be. He sent a flood and made everything new. He parted the sea and let his people walk through.